The UK will give Ukraine £3 billion a year for as long as it takes, said Keir Starmer. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that the UK will give Ukraine £3 billion a year for as long as it takes, says Starmer. The Prime Minister holds the first official bilateral talks with Volodymyr Zelenskiy at Nato summit in Washington. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share us across social media so others are notified of this video. So I don't normally do a video regarding Ukraine much. I don't think I ever have really, particularly on this channel. I mean, I have it on the Snowflake Corner or on short videos, but not really in an actual video, not for a long time anyway. And I really want to talk a little bit here. So, yeah, the conflict's been going on for quite a long time now between Russia and Ukraine. And there is this growing consensus of many people feeling that, and understandably so, that they want the fight. They want a ceasefire of some sorts. They want the gun to be put down. They want the war to stop. People are tired of seeing their countries, their economies, contributing to weapons and arms and supplies to Ukraine. When their feelings, whether you like it or not, many of them will feel as if there's problems here in my country or in my town or in my village. And why are we still giving weapons and arms to Ukraine? And that's a perfectly understandable thing to feel. But there is also this other side of the coin here, is that we have to remember that Russia was the ones who started this war. Russia are the ones who annexed Crimea in 2014. The world turned a blind eye then. And the world did not expect Ukraine to get invaded by Russia, which it did. The only difference is that Ukraine managed to stop them in those first couple of days, stop them taking over Kiev, and Ukraine managed to push them back somehow. And since then, obviously, Ukraine has been trying to defend itself. Now, of course, without a shadow of a doubt, its main backer has been the United States of America, and obviously they've had lots of support from many, many countries. That we're talking about a country where it's very sovereign, it's very independent, as people talk about independence, like, for example, Scotland wants its own independence. We talk about Brexit being sovereign and being able to decide and dictate our own things. That's what Ukraine wants to be. Russia has another idea. It wants Ukraine under its thumb. Just like Belarus doesn't decide its future, Russia decides Belarus's future. And that's what's going to happen to Ukraine if it falls to Vladimir Putin and Russia. And you might be saying to yourself, well, it's not my problem. Well, it's not my problem. Well, it becomes everyone's problem if Putin starts getting greedy. You see, he's already we know, based on his history, he wants to restore the former glorious Soviet Union. But we know, obviously, if you know your history, things didn't exactly turn out for them in the end, did it? Vladimir Putin wants to also make this argument, and I know people are going to come at me in the comments on this, about to try and justify how it's okay for Russia to do what it's doing because of NATO's expansion. Did you know that there was an opportunity for there was talks about Putin and Russia potentially joining NATO at one point as well? Didn't know about that, did you? Yeah, that didn't work out either, unfortunately. But for me, there was never, the way that NATO was designed is never designed to be an offensive, but always a defensive alliance. So why does Russia care about NATO? Shouldn't care about it, in my opinion. But he also says that there were agreements that were broken as well. Now, it's entirely possible that they may be true as well. But again, it's just to pull back this curtain. There is no justification whatsoever for this conflict. There's no justification for the lives that have been lost, for the thousands of children that Russia have taken from Ukraine as well. There's over, I think it's roughly about 8,000 Ukrainian children have been taken by Russia since the start of the war into Russia, Russian territory, away from the occupied territories that Russia has in Ukraine. And only about 20, a few have been 20, 30 or so children have been returned. There's no justification for this. There is none. And it needs to stop. I am completely on board with Volodymyr Zelenskiy in the position of that we should not accept the territory that we've lost for a ceasefire. I have been kind of mixed feelings about it all. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because the moment a ceasefire is made, and you all might think, oh, thank God we can stop giving money, stop giving weapons, stop giving arms to him. What is to stop Vladimir Putin just start causing the war again, starting up again, just out of the blue? There's nothing stopping him doing so. And many Ukrainians are European. They're European, and they're in favour of being part of the bloc, being part of the EU, being a part of NATO as well. So why should the Ukrainian people be denied their right for sovereignty, for their independence, for their rights to be able to choose their own fate, just because you don't like it? You know, I understand the point of view of this conflict, of the weapons and the money that's being poured in. I understand that frustration. I do. And you're probably going to say in the comments, no, Regan, you don't, because you're backing Britain. You think it's okay for us to sell weapons and arms to Ukraine for this to carry on this conflict. I would like nothing more for a ceasefire, just as much as I want a ceasefire done in Sudan, just as much what's happening in Myanmar, just as much as what's happening within Gaza. I would like nothing more for these conflicts to stop, and any others across the globe. But Vladimir Putin started this war. It is because of him that we have this conflict. He must pay for his crimes. You know he's a criminal. You know he's a war criminal. And you shouldn't be trying to justify in any way, shape or form what this man has done. So I firmly stand with Prime Minister Keir Starmer's decision to back Ukraine and stick with them. Because we may get into a position where the America will no longer back them, especially under President Trump. And they will need all the help and support that they can get. So the new government will stick with plans to spend at least £3 billion every year on military support for Ukraine for as long as it takes in its conflict with Russia, Keir Starmer has said. After his first official bilateral talks with the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelenskiy at the Nato summit in Washington, the Prime Minister confirmed their military aid will continue to at least 2030-2031. The UK has to date promised almost £12 billion of support for Ukraine since February 2022, of which £7.1 billion is for military assistance, the rest of the humanitarian economic support. In his talks with Zelensky, Starmer has underscored that Ukraine was on a irreversible plan to NATO membership. However, diplomats at the NATO summit say that setting out a firm timetable would be a gift to the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And on Thursday, the Prime Minister will tell his fellow leaders, that would have already passed by then, that NATO is founded by a generation of who defeated fascism. They understood it's not just the values of our strength, but the strength of our values. Those values are under attack once again. Putin needs to have a clear message ringing out from the summit. A message of unity, determination. We will support Ukraine with whatever it takes, and as long as it takes to uphold our shared values and our shared security. He's a lot happier there being next to Keir Starmer than he is with Rishi Sunak there, you can tell. British officials have said that while the potential return to the White House of Donald Trump, whose commitment to NATO and Ukraine is unclear, it is at the back of their minds. Their focus is on getting the alliance into the best possible shape, whoever wins the US election. Starmer has called on NATO allies to increase defence spending in response to rising global threats, including from Russia. He launches a review setting out the UK's plans to spend tens of billions of pounds extra on the military. He will tell the other 31 NATO countries that the frontline defence of the Euro-Atlantic region is in the Ukrainian trenches and that the international community cannot waver in the face of relentless Russia aggression. Yes, because if Russia wins this war, what is to stop them going after Finland? What is to stop them going after the Baltic? Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. What's them to stop wanting to take a chunk out of Poland? Where is to stop them? Like, how do you know that Russia is going to stop after Ukraine? You don't. You just don't. One of Kiev's most pressing asks of NATO states has been multi-year funding, which allows its plans against its defence against the Russian forces. The UK will deliver a new package of artillery and 90 Brimstone missiles in the coming weeks. The government will launch its strategic defence review next week, but this is likely to take up a year to complete, meaning Starmer has come under growing pressure to confirm a timetable for the UK to boost defensive spending of its target of 2.5% of GDP. However, Luke Pollard, the Armed Forces Minister, said on Wednesday that the government would not increase spending on the military unless it was able to grow the economy. The way we deliver public spending on defence, on schools, hospitals or prisons is by growing the economy, he told the BBC. If we don't grow our economy, then there won't be the money to spend and support those public services and the ambitions that we have, that includes defence. A senior source, number 10 source, suggested that the 2.5 commitment would stand irrespective of whether the new government hits its growth targets, and even those that would raise difficult questions over how it would be funded. Yes, of course, they said, those commitments to defence is absolute, but we are also confident that we will get growth in the economy, so I don't accept that we don't have to wait for one or for the other. Downing Street was unable to confirm whether the strategic defensive review would be published before the comprehensive spending review. Expected this autumn, but it suggested it would not take the full year. Starmer met Joe Biden for the first time at NATO Summit's welcome event. The pair shared a few private words as they shook hands before the cameras. Later, Starmer held a bilateral talks with the US President at the White House. Prime Minister's passionate football fan gave the President an Arsenal football shirt with the name Biden and the number 46 on the back, a reference to his status as the 46th US President. It's Starmer's team, and he thought he'd make a personal gift, the senior number 10 official said. Because he's an Arsenal fan. I think I need to see a picture of that, or at least a clip of that. He has previously given Emmanuel Macron, the French president, an Arsenal top as a gift. He also gave Biden a framed copy of the original Atlantic Charter that led the formation of NATO, which the then Labour Prime Minister Clement Attlee's amendments. Yeah, I mean, back obviously on the Ukraine spending commitments again. Like, well, the thing is that what is to stop Russia after Ukraine? What is to stop them after Finland? What is to give them a blank check to kind of do whatever you want, you know? And it's like this idea that, oh, they're not going to come for us. They'll never invade us, or they'll never come for us. They'll leave us alone. Like, you're not psychic. You can't read the future. Like, the thing is, we have to stand with our friends and our allies. And Ukraine is a friend and an ally, and we need to stand united with them. We have to show that we are not afraid. And we have to say to Russia and Putin that what he's doing is wrong. And I generally do hope that something comes at some point. Whether it is Putin, obviously something happens to Putin with regards to his power, or he gets overthrown or something like that. Or hopefully at some point there will be a counterattack that Ukraine can kind of start pushing back a bit on the territory. I know things are starting to get a bit more stalemate in terms of the conflict. From the last I checked of the deep state map, obviously, which shows the current positionings of where Ukraine and that are. Most of recent gains in the conflict has been in Donetsk. It's been in the Donetsk region that Russia have gained, but it has significantly slowed down. Obviously, now that since the US agreed a package for Ukraine, for Israel and Palestine, and as well as Sudan. Since that package come through, it has started to take effect in the conflict in Ukraine. But I do want this conflict to end. But and many innocent people have died. And you guys who have been watching the short videos, you know, like, another person's died, another home's been destroyed, another school's been hit. There was a recent story about a children's hospital being hit by Russian missiles. They denied it. But most evidence seems to point that it was Russian. That it was a Russian missile. They said it wasn't them. But you can judge for yourself on that. But we need to stand by our NATO ally, but not NATO, but we need to stand by our European allies. Work together, unite together, or we'll be divided and we all fall. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of the United Kingdom's position on Ukraine? What do you guys make of our position, our relationship with Joe Biden and the US? What do you guys make of of what's been said and what's been discussed at the summit so far? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, would greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all very, very soon.